Greetings, cinephiles. Are you looking for a movie analysis podcast that stands above the rest? Then look no further than Collateral Cinema, the only movie podcast that matters.
We analyze good movies, we analyze bad movies, and yes, we also analyze the in-betweens of the world of cinema.
So if you like what you hear, find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
And listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts.
And yes, my friends, we are 420 friendly. So when you listen to us, smoke it if you've got it. And now, here's a new episode of Collateral Gaming. The show starts right now.
I'm Ashley Chancellor.
And I'm Bo Maddox.
And this is a special Halloween edition of Collateral Gaming. Welcome to Collateral Gaming, the only video game podcast that matters, where we focus on good games, bad games, and everything else in between in the world of gaming. We are podcasting straight from somewhere in South Texas. And yes, my friends, we are a 420 friendly podcast, so smoke that green herb if you got it.
And be sure to mix it with some of that red sativa and then maybe a little bit of that blue hybrid.
That's right. That's right.
You
just mix all the herbs together and make yourself a little concoction that'll heal you up, because it is that time of year again. Happy Halloween, everybody. Well, by the time y'all are listening to this, it won't be Halloween anymore, but we hope you had a happy Halloween. We did. We were playing Resident Evil Code Veronica, right, Bo?
Yeah, definitely, man. Code Veronica is just one of those all-time greats when it comes to the Resident Evil franchise and when it comes to survival horror, and the last real great classic Resident Evil entry with the classic gameplay and the tank controls and the aiming and everything, but with a few little extra addendums there, which we're going to talk about here
for sure. So Resident Evil Code Veronica often gets looked over because it's not a numbered entry. It is a mainline entry. This is not a spinoff. This isn't like Resident Evil Survivor. This is a core game. In fact, it is, the only proper sequel to Resident Evil 2.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's like you kind of pointed out that in a way, Resident Evil 3 is kind of a sequel to Resi 1, and this game is more like a sequel to Resi 2 a little bit.
Yeah, and somewhat Resi 1, because it does follow both Claire and Chris's perspectives.
A little bit, yeah.
But yeah, it does feel like more of a follow-up to 2, and that's no accident, because apparently this originally was an attempt to port over, I think, Resident Evil 2, and then at some point during its development cycle, it may have started out as Resident Evil 3, and then eventually it became the game developed. I mean, at one point it was a Sega Saturn game, and then eventually they shifted development to the Dreamcast, so it became the Resident Evil on Dreamcast. But like you said, Bo, this is kind of the last game in the franchise that is a classic Resident Evil title with the tank controls and everything. But the one major change, of course, is the instead of having pre-rendered backgrounds, everything is fully 3D now.
Now, if you remember back, I think it was a couple of Halloweens ago, we did Dino Crisis.
Yeah, we did.
We kind of alluded to the fact that Dino Crisis, in some way, is it kind of set some of the standards that Code Veronica would eventually kind of adopt. I mean, namely with the pre-rendered backgrounds not being so much of a thing and being actually 3D rendered in real time. And having like a more shifting perspective with the camera. It was able to do a lot more with the backgrounds and make them a little more detailed. And here, especially going with the Dreamcast and in our case, the PlayStation 2's architecture, I mean, it made for... Even with the infamous fogginess that's involved in this, it made for a much more detailed look for the backgrounds and kind of gave it even more atmosphere than the traditional pre-rendered backgrounds could give.
Yes, yeah, and some things like the camera actually tracking the character as they move down hallways helps, because you still have those fixed camera angles. They're still going to be at one specific angle, which preserves a lot of that horror feeling that the early Resident Evil titles invoke by, having enemies ambush you from corners that you can't see. But with the camera actually being able to track the player as they move, you can kind of create these tight experiences, and it is a little bit more cinematic. And like you mentioned, Bo, with the jump in graphical fidelity, I mean, this really is a fantastic experience. It looks leaps and bounds better than Resident Evil 1 through 3.
I really love the leaps and bounds that they made when it comes to the character models here, because like for instance, the character model for Claire, what we get is a much more expressive and much more like empathetic looking Claire Redfield this time, because she's actually able to kind of react to what's going on around her, and you could kind of get that sense of dread, and also when she comes across a situation that she can't really control, a little bit of despair in her face somewhat. You know?
Yeah, you actually kind of do get a little bit more character out of her this way. And I think this game, although it does have a kind of an A-B scenario with Claire and Chris, Claire does feel like more of the main character that you spend more time with, and as she should be. She's a great character in Resident Evil 2. I love to see her fleshed out here. I think there are some critical character developments that if you skip over this title, you miss out on.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a very critical step between Resi 3 and Resi 4. You know, I mean, it starts to kind of allude to some of the more action-oriented elements that you would get in Resident Evil 4, but I mean, it actually kind of expanded upon what Resident Evil 3 was trying to do. I mean, in some ways more than others. Like they didn't bring the weapon, the ammo crafting mechanic that you had in Resident Evil 3. They didn't have that.
In fact, there are several things that don't carry over from 3, because this was being developed at one point at the same time as 3 by a different studio. Some things found their way in, like the quick turn, but there are several features that don't make their way in, like the emergency dodge and whatnot, and the gunpowder crafting and stuff. But I feel that this is a little less action heavy than 3. It's a little bit closer to 1 and 2 in that sense.
It is.
But it is much harder than 1 and 2.
Interestingly enough, it actually kind of expands on the more exploratory nature of Resi 3 as well. True. I mean, you really kind of get a sense for what this island is like. What life was like on the island before the virus outbreak and everything, and before the attack that are we doing spoilers here? Okay. But I mean, the attack that the island receives and everything. I mean, it's a lot more dynamic. It's a lot more in depth. And I mean, you get more of a feel for the actual human characters that you come across. Like, for instance, at the beginning of the game, the guard that lets Claire free, and of course, Steve, sorry babe, Burnside, sorry babe. We got to talk about Steve.
We have to talk about Steve.
Oh,
Steve. He was not long for this world.
Oh, Steve.
I love him though. I know that. And I knew as soon as I started playing, I'm like, okay, this is the character that people are going to bitch about being annoying, but he kind of just has an endearing quality to him. And I know that really, I think the thing people are most annoyed by is the voice acting performance, but I still find it very endearing, and the writing of the character is very solid. I really like Steve. Steve is the homie, man. I fucking love him.
No, Dad. I can't.
I can't, Father.
Yeah, Father.
Sorry, babe. We can't go to Hawaii like you wanted.
Sorry, babe. I don't think we're going to go to Hawaii like we wanted.
We're going to have to go to Antarctica with all these zombie hosers.
Zombie hosers out here. It's like they never even played a hockey game once in their life. They don't know nothing about nothing.
But yeah, no, you have great characters like Steve. You have Alfred and Alexia.
Ooh, yeah. Oh man, lots to unpack with those two.
Or
like
one initially. Or two.
Yeah, a little bit.
Right, because you think it's two, and then you find out that it's just the split personality of Alfred. But I mean, I'm thinking, okay, no, but there is a real Alexia behind this, and sure enough, by the end, I mean, there's a real Alexia.
There is, yeah, and she's just as insufferable as Alfred. And Alfred is, oh my God, I'll never forget when I first heard that laugh. I'm like, are you kidding me, Capcom?
Yeah.
I'm like, are you really throwing a character like this at me?
But
really,
it's part of the charm. I mean, because the voice acting it's cheesy. It's not as bad as you were almost a Jill sandwich Resident Evil 1 levels, but it's right along those lines still. And you got to love it for it. That is part of that early Resident Evil experience. But I was really vibing with the story. I like how we kind of have this. I think this is the first Resident Evil game that's actually not set in America, and it's set on this island.
Yeah, it's kind of outside of the jurisdiction of the American military and everything. So it's pretty much where Umbrella does its really crazy extrajudicial bullshit, especially when it comes to, covering up T-virus outbreaks and, quelling any type of dissent or whistleblowing.
Yeah,
or anything.
In fact,
like
you
that.
actually get to learn a little bit about the origins of Umbrella in this one. We get a little bit of lore on that with the Ashford family, who, in a sense, I guess, kind of preside over the corporation.
Yeah,
or at least this island. I don't quite know how the hierarchy works.
It definitely traces itself back to some type of European nobility. Of course, they are very much aristocrats. Yeah. And they live the aristocratic lifestyle to a T. Like even having torture dungeons, like apparently rich people really love to have on islands. Like torture, rape dungeons. So a little bit of release the Epstein files. There we go. We'll just go ahead and put that in there.
We have to go back to the island, Bo.
No, let's not go down. Not that island.
Not that island. I'll go. You know what? I'll go to the Code Veronica island before I go to Epstein's island.
There's less of a chance of getting fucked at this island.
I mean, the worst thing that can happen to you is you get eaten by zombies.
Yeah, that's a much more agreeable end, I would say. Wow.
What did you think about the horror elements of this one? Because we're doing this as a horror review for Halloween.
It definitely leans heavy into those classic B-movie vibes that Resi is known for, especially in the older days. You could kind of argue that they were really starting to kind of wane on that in Resi 3 a little bit. That is a little more action heavy, but I mean the horror elements with the nemesis and everything in that game, like that's where it got most of its horror. But this right here, this kind of goes back to the basics and just makes the zombies really, really creepy and scary entities in their own right. And now they're a little faster.
Yes.
They're a little more prone to lurching forward, where I'm sure that if you were used to the dodge mechanic from Resi 3, like this is going to feel really off.
Right, not having that dodge mechanic, I feel like I actually never really got used to that. I still kind of struggled and didn't quite master it, but I know that like once you do, that's something that definitely feel sorely missed here, because those enemies, I was kind of disappointed in myself because I'm like, I've played all the way through Resident Evil 1 and 2. I've played through quite a bit of 3, I've played some of the later games too, and then the remakes, but it should not be this difficult for me to dodge these fucking zombies. But then we were watching some reviews and I was like, okay, it's not just me. This one is harder because, like you mentioned, the zombies are faster, their animations are a little bit different. Like you said, the AI is a little bit better, so you're more likely that these enemies are gonna grab onto you and cause you, and you really need to make sure that you keep your distance with them. Otherwise, you're going to get swarmed. And while ammo is pretty plentiful in this game, health resources are just about as scarce as they could be. And
yes,
I spent a significant chunk of my game time hobbling around. You saw, Bo.
Yeah, I saw that, and not only that, but pretty much a lot of these reviews that we saw, other YouTubers, they were in the same state throughout most of their gameplay. It's like, yeah, no, that is a it's really difficult to kind of keep your health on the up and up here.
Yeah, you and I, we were playing together, and and you were watching me play, and I had already started out with very low health until I finally found some green herbs that I had missed over before, because I was playing the PS3 version of Resident Evil Code Veronica X, which I'm happy to find out does not speak for the original experience or other ports of this, in that it was so fucking dark, and with the exclusion of the pre-rendered environments with the 3D models sticking out, it was much more difficult for me to find items. So anyway, to get back to my original point here, I was struggling to find herbs, and I'm really low on health. And then even once I managed to get healed up enough to find and look green, I would just get attacked right away and lose it. And so, yeah, when you watch playthroughs of this, you'll see people are almost always injured for a significant chunk of the time.
Yeah, I mean, even when they actually try to take evasive maneuvers, I mean, there's some people who have mastered it. The playthrough that I seen, it's like the dude was pretty decent at dodging like dogs and dodging zombies and whatnot. Yeah. But I mean, it's very easy to get swarmed in this game, like more so than other Resi games.
And while the body count isn't quite as high as 3, it is pretty high. You're going to have lots of enemies come out at you. I've also noticed that in addition to enemies that I would assume are scripted to spawn when you backtrack through areas, I did notice some enemies respawn in areas when I came back to them, and that was annoying. I remember clearing out an entire courtyard of zombies thinking, okay, now I can come back through here and I won't have to worry about it. Justified that they'd all come back. I was like, fuck.
Yeah, it definitely kind of helps to make any playthrough of this game just kind of not really drag, but it does kind of add a little more of an obstacle and a little more challenge to actually getting what you need to get through some of these puzzles. Because I mean, a lot of this, it's kind of the same, fetch it and use it quests, like pretty much what classic Resi is known for.
Yeah, it's got that same feeling of progression that's actually kind of similar to Metroidvania titles, where it's like, okay, get item X from this area, now backtrack all the way back through this area that you were in before, get this item, now backtrack all the way back to this area. And all the while in this game, I was coming across multiple items and things that were areas that I needed to backtrack that were optional, that wasn't part of the intended progression, or maybe I wasn't sure. So I kind of had to figure out how I wanted to optimize this, and with the limited ink ribbons for saves, you're trying to kind of figure this out efficiently.
Definitely. This is a Resi game where it's going to test the limits of your resource management, because I mean, if you're used to like the older Resi games where, maybe you can at least kind of go out of your way and come across, maybe an herb or a first aid spray, like maybe in a drawer or something.
Yeah.
Or you can use a lockpick to open something up, and you can just find an ink ribbon or find a health. It's not really the case here. I mean, they really limit how many herbs you're going to come across here. Quite a bit. Like if you remember in like Resi Director's Cut, I mean, the herbs were pretty plentiful in that game.
Yeah, but I always managed to find herbs whenever I needed them, and I felt that Resident Evil 2 in particular was very generous with its resources, both ammunition and health resources. But this one, at least when it comes to other resources besides ammunition, they're very scarce. And actually, I think that it's at some points is too scarce. Like I remember mentioning in our Chronos review that I felt that game was almost perfectly balanced when it came to the scarcity of resources. This kind of errs more on the side of, sometimes I wish there was a little bit more and I didn't spend quite so much time hobbling around, but that is part of the challenge. Ammunition I did find was plentiful enough that I was always able to have some of something, but I wasn't stockpiling ammo like I would in some games. Like I was having to use what I had on hand.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those games where, I mean, it's going to throw certain enemies at you at the most inopportune times when you're low on certain types of ammo.
Yep.
And you're low on health. And I mean, it's going to send out those graboid tyrant things, which are like they have a good little bit of range to their attack. I mean, they can actually reach out and grab you from a distance.
Yeah.
And I mean, they love to come up whenever you've just had to deal with a good little room full of zombies, or like some zombie dogs or something like that.
They love to come in areas that you're backtracking through.
Definitely,
and surprise you. And sometimes you can just outmaneuver them and get past them and not have to deal with them. I mean, that's part of survival horror, right? Is determining which enemies you actually need to fight to progress and which ones are worth it if you know you're going to be coming back through. But those guys, I mean, sometimes, it's either fight or flight with them. It's like, okay, you got to unload like 4 explosive arrows in the face or a couple of grenade rounds on them and finish them off quickly, or you got to outmaneuver those fuckers.
Yeah, and that's even before the hunter enemies come during Chris's playthrough, which, of course, hunters are known for being like quite pernicious enemies in this franchise. Interestingly enough, we don't get any lickers here.
No lickers.
Which is weird.
But we do have tyrants. One tyrant in particular that frustrated both of us. That mid-game boss fight with Claire on the plane with the tyrant is one of the most frustrating experiences I've ever had in a survival horror game. I almost gave up on it, but I powered through it. In fact, I fucked myself up once. You can do that in this game. You can fuck yourself over and not have enough resources left for inopportune encounters, right?
Yep.
So I had to reload a save just to make sure I had enough ammunition, health, and healing items on me for this fight. But even after that, it was a bitch. Trying to. I was looking at videos on people showing like specific ways to outmaneuver this guy, but I couldn't even pull those off. This dude was swiping me left and right. It kind of just became at the end of the day, what I ended up having to do was just unload as much ammunition as I could, run over to that console and launch the catapult at him as quickly as possible before he killed me. That's what it was. It was tanking hits, but like inflicting as much damage and as quickly as I could before he killed me.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't go in there with the right type of weaponry and the right amount of ammunition, you're just going to get smacked around by that guy. It is a boss fight that honestly I've never really experienced in the Resident Evil canon, and I mean it just completely just waylaid me over and over and over again, and I'm just like, God damn it, man.
Yeah,
it's like that stupid fucking catapult takes so long to charge. He
could even throw you out of the plane. I don't know if you have to be on your last bit of health for him to do it or not, but
absolutely.
One time I was on the edge and I had just a little bit of health remaining, and this dude just chunked me out of the plane. I was like, oh, that can happen too. Okay,
bastard.
No, that battle was fucking tough. And what's crazy is you don't think about these things. Like you encounter him earlier, and so I unloaded all my BOW rounds on him then. So I didn't have any left. Now, I found the explosive arrows were effective, but it was a matter of pumping as many of those as I had left and then switching to everything else I had left, pulling out all the weapons that I had stashed away for such encounters as these.
Exactly. And this isn't like the other tyrant battles back in the day where some mysterious person is going to throw you a rocket launcher to shoot at him. I mean, that kind of sort of happens at the end of the game. Yeah, with the final boss.
I mean, you have to.
No, but this is the first tyrant battle where you don't have that. It's like your ace in the hole is that catapult, and that catapult is just going to fuck you if you allow it to.
And it only you still have to launch it at the dude three to five times before he goes down. And I believe it is actually necessary to finish with a catapult, but it's you inflict damage every time you do it, plus as many rounds as you're pumping into him. It's just that this fucker, it's a tight space, and this fucker is hard to dodge, and he inflicts a lot of damage. You know, I only had one first aid spray on me, and I started out on yellow.
You were pretty much screwed right then and there. Like that,
but I made it through because he hits me once or twice, and now I'm down to orange or red. Use my first aid spray. Then it becomes a matter of just surviving until the end. And like I said, pumping as many rounds as you can, and then launching the catapult as soon as you can. And
then you realize that's just the mid game boss.
Yes,
as you're transitioning from the island to Antarctica.
And Antarctica's a bitch.
And yeah, that's a hell of a place to have to deal with in its own right.
It's the first time that you encounter poison, and I even came across these moth fuckers that planted larvae on me that poisoned me every time I tried to take them off.
Yeah, those moth enemies are a real nightmare,
and they respawn every time you come back.
Yep,
through.
Exactly. And it's like you would think that they would throw you like a flamethrower to deal with
right?
it, but
that
no,
would be the opportune time for one.
Don't.
And this game throws a lot of weapons at you. It's got one of the more impressive weapon rosters in any Resident Evil game, including dual pistols. A few different weapons, like the beginning, you get those two that you can get, and then there are the submachine guns and the golden Lugers, but you don't actually wield those.
Yeah, the golden Lugers are specifically used as as kind of a key to open a door.
Yeah, they're just a key, and Steve uses... Well, okay, you control Steve and use the submachine guns, but... So I think Claire only has one set of the double handguns, but what's really cool about those weapons is you can actually target multiple enemies at once, and it's dynamic. So if you're facing one enemy, you'll unload all your firepower on that one enemy, but if there are two enemies within your range, the character will actually pull apart their arms and shoot both enemies at once, and that was really cool. I liked that.
There's even instances where you can dual wield and shoot multiple flame barrels and blow them up as well, which is really fucking crazy, man.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, it's actually pretty hilarious when it happens.
Don't worry, Claire. I'm coming to save you.
I must thank you for being such good bait.
We'll get out of here together.
One notable aspect of this game that it's a minor gripe, but apparently the headshots aren't really headshots. Like, I mean, for all intents and purposes, the enemy is dead and isn't coming back, but their head doesn't actually pop off. Like, you see guts fly.
Yeah.
But apparently, maybe that was a censorship thing or something, but the heads don't actually come off.
It could be a glitch for all we know.
Right? Like,
but I mean...
But at the end of the day, it is a headshot. It's functionally the same. It is still just as satisfying coming up, close as fuck with that shotgun and just pa.
Yeah. And interestingly enough, you get the shotgun like maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours into the game. Like before, you get the grenade launcher before you get the shotgun in this game, which is pretty crazy for a Resident Evil game.
Yeah, it is. You even get a fucking assault rifle before you get a shotgun.
Yep.
And that's another weapon that like the double handguns is it's just limited ammo. Like once you use it, that's it.
Yeah.
But no shortage of weapons to use, and like I said, they throw plenty of ammo at you, so you pretty much just use whatever you have on hand. I remember getting the auto attachment to the handgun, and then you got to make a decision about whether you want to use the auto function, which is going to be effective against crowds of enemies or bosses, or conserve your ammunition by switching to manual.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, that's a staple that carried over from previous games, but it's another element of strategy.
Yeah, definitely. And I do like the upgrades that you get for the handgun. I mean, I like the stock that you have. It gives you a nice little brace.
Yeah.
It gives you a switch and everything. It's very effective. It kind of gives you a little more of an option when you're going into a room and there's like a bunch of enemies, or if there's just one. I mean, you could just pick them off if you want, or you can just kind of spray them with automatic fire and you can bring them down.
Yeah, or you can dodge them, but dodging them is harder in this game.
A lot harder.
So but enemies end up respawning anyway, so it just becomes a calculus of how much you intend to come back through that room or not. I remember there's a giant worm fight that you can come across early on when you come through the military training facility, and I remember the first time I was like, okay, let me fight this worm boss, and then come to find out that it's actually not necessary to fight it. It is easier just to avoid it for now.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, especially early on, you're not going to have the kind of firepower you're going to need to take down a boss like that.
No.
So I mean, it's always best to run away from it and just leave it for Chris, because eventually you're going to have to fight it.
Yeah,
eventually.
Chris's section of the game is pretty much just backtracking through all of Claire's sections. I know that's one common criticism of the game, but like Claire's section actually is pretty effective with how much it utilizes the different areas. I didn't ever feel like I was stuck in an area for too long or had to backtrack through it too much. It felt like it was a good balance, but then you come back through those areas yet again as Chris, and it's like, okay, yeah. Chris could have used some more original environments.
He could have, but I mean, at the end of the day, also there was only so much that you could do with the island setting that they had.
True.
I mean, of course, he was going to backtrack through a lot of Claire's previous outing. I mean, not as sprawling.
There's different enemies and puzzles and whatnot.
Yeah.
So, that sort of thing doesn't bother me too much. But this game is definitely challenging, and there were moments where, even though it's not a very long game, I still had to put it down and be like, okay.
I mean, sometimes you'll get a little bit of brain fatigue from this game because, I mean, just the constant resource management, especially with the lack of health resources and everything, it's going to give you a little anxiety here, I mean, this is a very anxiety-inducing Resi game.
Yeah, it definitely is.
So, yeah, I mean, you're going to break a sweat here or there.
Yeah. Did you feel that the game was scary compared to other Resident Evil games?
I'd say a lot of the stuff in the first half of it was a little scarier than in the second half, I would say.
I mean, I feel like the beginning was definitely scary, like when you first come out and explore the island as Claire, and they even kind of throw you into some buildings with zombies, which is cool. And they even have like the dogs like running around underneath the buildings and so that was cool. But yeah, definitely as the game goes on, it did feel a little bit less scary. And then that just may be because I've played a lot of these kinds of games before. As I mentioned, I played a port of this game that was significantly darker, though. So while it made it more difficult to find items, I guess it did make the game a little scarier.
Yeah, a lot more atmospheric, and then there's a lot more dynamic lighting that was used in this game.
The dynamic lighting was something that was new.
Yeah, it definitely kind of gave gave everything its own little bit of a shadowy vibe. You know,
Yeah.
like you're kind of looking at shadows. And you're just like, what's going on over there?
I mean, I even like the sections of the game where you play as Claire with just the lighter, and you pull out the lighter to illuminate your way through.
Exactly.
That was cool. It did definitely, like you mentioned, Bo, it's atmospheric. And that's right at the beginning of the game. And then at some point, you actually replace the lighter with the lockpick, which is more useful. But now you no longer have the lighter, which I didn't know this, but it actually wards off those annoying fucking bats.
Yeah, those goddamn bats, man. I mean, the crows were one thing. Like, I mean, I would say the crows were actually pretty easy to deal with, but those bats, like, I mean, don't even try to fucking shoot them. They're just they're just moving too much. It's like you're just going to waste ammo trying to deal with them.
No kidding. Especially if you're coming at it with the bow gun. That thing.
No, that's about as easy as actually trying to shoot a bat with a bow gun. It's not an easy task, nor should you. But
the bow gun's a cool weapon, but it's definitely not as powerful as anything else. But you get plenty of ammunition for it.
yeah, plus you have the ability to upgrade it with the bowgun powders and make them into explosives.
Now the explosive arrows are cool as fuck, but another item that you don't want to use up too much of quickly. But I even found some areas in the game where that was just a handier option for me. Like, okay, when I got to the airport and I got swarmed by these enemies and I'm on low health, like I have no choice but to bust out my heavy weaponry even on what I would normally consider fodder enemies, just because there's way too many of them and I'm low on health. This game is going to push you. It's going to push you to make decisions and then maybe regret that later whenever you come to a boss that you're like, man, I really wish I had all those explosive arrows now.
Yeah, you're going to be using your grenade launcher as a little bit of crowd control in a lot of cases here.
I used them against those golden tyrant enemies, the grabby ones.
Usually two shots with the grenade launcher, and that'll take care of those.
2 grenade rounds will take care of those fuckers.
At the least.
Yeah.
So
thankfully, because those fuckers are annoying, and if you're ever going to come back to that area, you're going to just want to get rid of them. But who knows? You might come through later, and they fucking respawn, because that's what this game does.
Yep. They're just going to be right there, right when you're hobbling around with low health, or like in your case, you just found herbs and just healed up.
Yeah.
And then just like that, one of them just grabs you, and it's like, ugh.
Man, I remember coming into a room with 2 of those fuckers, and there was actually nothing else for me to do in that room. So it was a complete waste, and I was like, Bo, I'm just going to reset.
Yeah, it's like there's nothing for me in this room right now. It's like, at least not until I have the means and the health to deal with it.
I don't even think that you even can do anything in that room as Claire. I think that's a Chris.
It's a Chris centric space. Yeah.
You never know. Sometimes you'll come through and you're like, okay, maybe I might come back through here later as Claire. But then other times it's like, nah, this is going to be a Chris thing, like the handgun part that you find in the facility.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. This game also has a sniper rifle that is fully 3D, and that was cool.
Yeah, you initially see it with Alfred. Alfred is the one that tries to use it on you. He has a laser sight and everything. And I think that you get it from him after defeating him in Antarctica, right?
Yeah, and I think it's useful for the Nosferatu fight.
Yeah,
in particular.
Specifically, which is an interesting one because you're dealing with a lot of whiteout in that particular scene. I mean, there's a lot of snow, and it's outside in Antarctica on a helipad.
Yeah,
and you specifically need to use the sniper rifle to shoot him straight in the heart, but. I mean, not only is he coming at you and just hurling like bile literally at you, and which can poison you. I mean, the low visibility that you're dealing with, it just makes lining up your shot that much more difficult, and he can even throw you off of the helipad and everything. So it's like,
damn it.
yeah, you're kind of between a rock and a hard place because you really do need to actually stand your ground in order to use the sniper rifle properly.
Yeah. It's
but
another skill check like the Tyrant plane fight.
Yes, exactly.
Oh yeah, this game really does test your limits, but it's a good challenge for those veteran Resident Evil players. So if you're somebody that enjoyed Resident Evil 1 through 3 and wanted to experience more of that, but skipped over this game, it's actually perfect. I mean, this is the perfect answer. This is the game for hardened Resident Evil players that were looking for something else.
Yeah, for those that thought that maybe Resi 3 was a bit too easy.
Man, I felt like 2 was a little bit too easy. At least
2 was very easy. Actually.
Yeah. 3 challenged me a little bit. I actually felt kind of challenged by 3 with the crowds alone.
I didn't find 3 that challenging. I found it...
And with Nemesis.
Nemesis was challenging, but I mean, the actual gameplay loop where you're actually exploring Raccoon City and everything, I didn't find it that challenging. It's actually pretty easy to get through that game for me.
Yeah. Your mileage is going to vary, but I feel like anybody can agree that Code Veronica is quite a bit more difficult than the previous ones.
Absolutely. Its difficulty has been amped up. And I mean, it's all the better for it, though. I mean, if you really, this is a game that if you really want to amp it up, get a randomizer mod and just kind of go at it. It's like, there's no telling what you're going to get.
Oh man, fuck, randomizer mods are so fun, but
they are.
They're wild.
Oh yeah,
I've never played that in a Resident Evil game.
I've seen people do that for like Resi 1, and they're like going to where you would normally pick up the shotgun, and it'll give you just like an ink ribbon, and it's like, oh god damn it,
I'd be pissed.
Yeah, no shit, man. Or you go to get an herb, and it turns out to be like Magnum ammo, and you're like nowhere near a fucking Cold Python.
Imagine almost becoming a Jill sandwich and getting a lousy fucking ink ribbon.
Yeah, that's a fucking slap in the face. or what would even be worse? Like you get one of the tiger eyes or something like that.
Yeah. But one more thing I wanted to say about this game is I think it's the Resident Evil game that is most ripe for a remake because we've done 1 through 4 now. I feel like the next best option would be to do 4. Would be to do Code Veronica at this point, especially considering the reception that 5 and 6 got. I feel like coming back to a good game like this would be good. I mean, either that or they're going to remake Resident Evil 1.
Yeah, I could see them doing that and giving it more the modern look, but
Resident Evil 1 remake is such a perfect remake that I almost don't want them to touch it.
It's like, you could just keep remastering that one and be just fine.
For real.
Honestly.
But this game could use a remake. I would love to see it done with the modern style behind the shoulder.
I like to say that I saw up here when we were looking at reviews a trailer for a remake or something or another. But
yeah,
well, I guess we'll have to check it here whenever we're finished.
For sure, yeah. Because that would be fucking awesome. And you redo all the voice performances and whatnot, so it takes itself a little bit more seriously. I mean, I love those early Resident Evil games for being as goofy as they are, but I do like that the remakes strove to kind of ground the series a little bit more as a way to kind of differentiate themselves as experiences. So I'd like to see how a remake would tackle something like this, and obviously modernize the controls. I think the lack of take controls would alienate a far few players.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
You and I, we can fuck with tank controls because we've played enough games with them, but give me the option to turn them off and I'm going to turn them off.
But here's the thing about this game. You didn't try the tank controls on a Dreamcast controller, which in a weird way, that controller actually lent itself well to tank controls, even more so than the PS1 controller.
And it also,
even with the analog stick.
And it also had a screen on it well before the Wii U did it.
Yeah, and it gave you a little health bar.
Yeah, this game had it give you the function of being able to tell your health at any time without pausing.
If you had the memory unit for the Dreamcast.
Honestly, that sounds like a worthwhile addition like that's a really nice gimmick to have in a Resident Evil game.
Man, let me tell you, we could do an episode on the Dreamcast's VMU all its own. I mean, it even led to a competitor that Sony tried to do called the Pocket Station, which had compatibility with PS1 games on the PlayStation, and you would actually load it in just like a memory card, I believe. Either that or you had to have a special cable for it. I don't remember, but the VMU, yeah, I mean, you literally just stuck it in the controller and in the memory port.
Yeah.
And it gave you a little LED screen, and it did all kinds of interesting stuff with the different games. You know, it gave you a logo. Sometimes it'd give you some other type of little HUD or something like that. But yeah, I mean, it was really ahead of its time if you really look up in it. We could do a full episode just on that alone.
I would love to do like a bonus round or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've actually for a while I've been wanting to do like a console review on something like the Dreamcast or one of those just real obscure consoles.
Man, the Dreamcast would be a perfect place to start, honestly.
For real, yeah. I would love to do that. But yeah, this game being developed for the Dreamcast, I think, really lended itself to an interesting design philosophy and an evolution of the franchise that I guess really didn't evolve further because we've never really returned to the classic Resident Evil gameplay. The closest we've gotten was Biohazard and Village, and even those are different enough. I mean, they're just a little bit more survival horror focused.
I would argue that maybe 8 gets a little more action oriented.
See, yeah, 8 kind of actually is a little bit more like 4 than anything. So really, Biohazard is kind of the last game that really felt close to the early games. But it's
I don't
different.
know. I checked out the teaser trailer with the gameplay for Resi 9. I mean, it looks like a good little mix of the two. Like, I mean, it actually looks like they're going third person with it.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
I mean, both Biohazard and Village have third-person modes now that were added to the game after the fact.
Do now.
Or at least Village does.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was an after edition. But you still can't see Ethan's face. They deliberately obscure it.
I'm sure. Of course they would do that.
But yeah, I'm excited for Resident Evil Requiem. That is, I actually already pre-ordered it on Switch 2, and there was a bundle that came with a new Switch 2 version of both Biohazard and Village. I own both of those games already, or I have access to them, but I said, fuck it. I mean, it's $90 for all 3 games with all of the DLC and everything for 7 and 8. So yeah, that sounds like a bargain to me. My only caveat is that it doesn't come with the deluxe edition of Requiem. That was a separate bundle, and the deluxe edition includes a costume for Lady Dimitrescu.
Ooh, nice. Nice.
So I'm like, man, I hope I could at least get a paid upgrade for that, because man, I need me some Lady Dimitrescu.
Lady D, she is quite a thing.
I mean, the daughters were hot too, though.
They were. Did you see that one meme of that one girl? Like, she said her mom looks pretty much exactly like Lady D. And she is like almost the perfect.
Fuck yeah.
She almost looks perfectly like Lady D. Like, fuck yeah, man.
Hell yeah. Well, all right. I guess we'll go ahead and get into our final thoughts here on Resident Evil Code Veronica, unless you had any other points to bring up.
No.
All right. Well, Bo, what are your final thoughts?
Resident Evil Code Veronica holds a special place for me because it is, like I said before, that last final bastion of original old school survival horror gameplay that we all knew and loved from the PlayStation 1 and the PS2 era.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the tank controls, the resource management, the weaponry, the mechanics of how to actually dodge and deal with different enemies and the bosses and everything.
Yeah.
It's a game that, to me, really, people really need to talk about it a little more often, because I mean, it's an important link between the two main eras of Resident Evil, of the classic and the new school, you know?
Yeah, it's a bridge.
It is. It's a bridge to that. And I mean, you can argue that, I mean, the HD remake in Resi Zero are probably kind of part of that as well, because that was also a very huge step forward for graphically and, you know, as far as gameplay mechanics is concerned for Resident Evil. And that just actually kind of refined the classic gameplay and kind of preserved it in a way.
Yeah.
But I mean, here, this is like, I mean, exactly what a Resident Evil game for its time should be, and especially something that came up that was exclusive to the Dreamcast. You know, I mean, it kind of is a graphical marvel in its own right.
Yeah,
you know, and it was interesting to see Capcom move Resident Evil. This was the first time they moved it away from the PlayStation, where it kind of grew its whole franchise and everything.
Right.
But I mean, this took it away from America. It took it off of the PlayStation, and it kind of made it its own standalone thing that, I mean, I think, like I said, more gamers and more gaming historians really need to talk about this game and what it actually set up as far as Resident Evil in the future going from here. You know, going into Resident Evil 4 with the more action-oriented gameplay and the third person behind the shoulder view that's now almost standard for games this day and age. Yeah. You know, I mean, it's kind of that final link between the two eras. And I mean, it's that way in the graphic department, and it's that way in the gameplay department, and it's that way just in the aesthetic and in the feel and everything. So, yeah, this is a game that to me is very necessary. It needs more love. Like you said, no, remake this game. This game is ripe for a remake. It only makes sense. It's a story that needs to be refined a little bit, and it needs to be retold.
Exactly. 100% agree with that. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Resident Evil Code Veronica is definitely an overlooked title. It's a lot of ways it is the true Resident Evil 3 or 4. And it is like you mentioned, Bo, just the very last of that gate, and it's something that needs to be preserved and remembered. So it's an experience that is accessible. So I was able to play the PS3 version of Resident Evil Code Veronica X on my PS5. That was also available on the PS4. So it's provided you have a stable internet connection, because you do have to stream this game, unfortunately. That's one way to do it, or you can just emulate it, and that's probably going to be the more accessible option for a lot of people. So there are a lot of different ways to play this game. I did wish it had an installable version on the PS5 and PS4, though, because I remember I was able to install Resident Evil 1 Director's Cut.
Yeah.
So it was kind of silly that I had to stream this game in order to play it, but and especially for a game like this where you can't just with like the limited ink ribbons and whatnot, you can't just put down the game whenever you want. You have to know what you're gonna do before, and then decide whether or not it's worth saving.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that's something that goes for all Resident Evil games. But if it was gonna be a retro game that you could only stream, they at least could have provided save states. Not having save states really pushed my limits on this game, but I guess that's more of the authentic experience. But anyway, it's a difficult game. I don't recommend playing this as a first Resident Evil game. I feel like this is a game better played if you've played some or all of the original Resident Evil games 1 through 3. I mean, at least 1 and 2, I feel like would be a good starting point before moving on to something like this. But you could definitely play it before Resident Evil 4 and the rest.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, and it's a great game, and I feel like it should be talked about more. And it's a pretty much longer game than the original trilogy. It does only have one single storyline. It's a 2-scenario story. So you have like your A-B scenarios, but it's just one. You don't get to pick. It's Claire, and then it's Chris, and it's a little bit more Claire than Chris.
Yep.
But it is a very tight experience. It's a good story, and we'll once again reiterate that this is the Resident Evil game that I feel is most ripe for a remake, just for visibility, and even just to kind of polish it a little bit and deliver that to more people. So yeah. Check out Resident Evil Code Veronica X if you are a fan of the franchise. I wouldn't recommend this to casuals. This is not a game, like, for instance, if you can't even fuck with tank controls, then,
yeah, exactly.
Make sure you're a master of tank controls and aiming. I mean, even like I mentioned, I was playing this and I was like, man, I feel like I suck at this game. I was like, this is so much harder. And I've played through Resident Evil 1 and 2. What the fuck is going on? No, it's harder.
It really is, yeah.
But it's good and it's rewarding. And I'm glad that we focused on it this Halloween. And we'll continue to move through the franchise. I know we've got Resident Evil Requiem coming out, so I definitely want to cover that.
At some point, we should cover Resi Zero if we haven't already.
We should, actually. And maybe that should be like next year's like October episode or Halloween episode if we're going to do another Resident Evil game. I feel like I'd rather do that than 5, for instance.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we did the 4 remake, so we've kind of covered that already. We still haven't done a proper episode on the Resident Evil 1 remake, though, to be fair.
We should all probably do that then.
We should, because
that is an impressive leap forward for Resident Evil. Like I said earlier, it's definitely a step forward in gameplay and in graphics and everything.
100%. But stay tuned for more content from us. Before I get into that, though, Bo, what's going on with Collateral Cinema?
Right now, our Halloween episode is available. It is focused on Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. That is out right now. And our October content this year, we started off with Peter Jackson's Dead Alive. We were joined by Stu from SWO Productions. And then we did The Evil Dead, 1981 by Sam Raimi. And we were joined by The Vern and Robbie Sherman on that one. So look for those. We're going to have our post-Halloween episode out very soon, this next coming week. And coming up next, after that, we're going to be doing The Amazing Spider-Man. And then later on, we're going to do a collaboration with Collateral Gaming, and we're going to talk about Lara Croft Tomb Raider. And we're going to be joined by Craig of Reading Between the Reels, and also Megan from Collateral Gaming.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that we should probably think about recording that here this next coming weekend, I would imagine.
Yeah,
So,
that might be a good idea.
yeah.
So, hell yeah. I'm excited for our upcoming content on Collateral Cinema. As for Collateral Gaming, we did get out at least some of our spooky content during Spooky Month, which was good. We got out Chronos the New Dawn. The second episode that was intended for October was Silent Hill F. And again, that's going to be a game launch review. So here within the next week or so, I plan to go ahead and get that released. And I know, Bo, you're ready to talk about that.
Oh, yeah.
I need to finish playing through the game, and then we can get into Ghost of Yotei. And I'm so fucking stoked for Ghost of Yotei. That's going to be our November content. Part 1 will be a spoiler-free episode, and Part 2 will be full spoilers. We are also going to have some kind of post-Halloween edition of the bonus round. We're still kind of figuring out what that content is going to be, but here this weekend, Bo and I will release that. And we should also do some kind of a Halloween Let's Play.
I suggested Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
And I'm 100% down with that. So
yeah, that just sounds like the most reasonable Halloween-themed game to play.
Yeah, in fact, I think here either tomorrow or this weekend, we'll you and I can go ahead and get that released.
And also a Phoenix Wright Wednesday episode.
That would be good. Yeah, we need to get back on Phoenix Wright Wednesday and
Absolutely.
record more of those.
Ace Attorney. Woo!
But you can find Collateral Let's Play on both Collateral Gaming and Collateral Cinema YouTube channels. Go follow us on YouTube, or you can also support us by giving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, or help us rise up the ranks on Good Pods. We do have a merch store on Dashery where you can get you some Collateral Media swag. We have a Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee. So lots of ways to support Collateral Media. And we are also on social media. So we are on Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. So go check us out there. And I think that's just about it.
Yep, just about. Yep.
Hell yeah. Well, we hope that everyone had a safe Halloween, and we hope you enjoy this spooky season weekend. I kind of maintain that the spooky season ends, that last week of October, including.
Exactly. And the first few days of November.
Right. Yeah. So wherever that week ends, that's kind of where, to me, spooky season ends. So hell yeah, if you're looking for a good time, go play some and want to play some classic Resident Evil, definitely can recommend Code Veronica, as long as you have some experience with classic Resident Evil.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, go play the Resident Evil 1 remake. That's a great starting point.
Oh, absolutely. That's where I would tell people to start if they want to get into Resi Evil. Is like, I mean, you could easily play it on Switch and Switch 2.
Yeah.
I mean, go check that one out.
For sure.
Beyond a shadow of a doubt.
But all right. With all that being said, I've been Ashley Chancellor.
And I am Bo Burnside.
This was Collateral Gaming. We are out.
Sorry, babe.
Collateral Gaming is a Collateral Media podcast. All music and game clips are owned by their respective creators and are used for educational purposes only. Please don't sue us. We're poor.